This is where we're going to start. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, great, here he goes. He's talking about the mindset section. You know, let's get down to what I need to know, right? What I've realized is over the years, your mindset will determine the level of success that you have. There are people that set an income goal and they set it at $100,000. What they've done is they've just capped their goal. Do you think that person who sets a goal of 100 grand is going to make $1 million that year? They've just set a ceiling for their income. And so what I want everybody to understand is when you as an investor get started, this business, you are no longer collecting a paycheck. So there is business startup expenses. There is things that you need to use to fund your business that you need to get started with. It's not just like checks start rolling in the door. So the one concept that I've learned over the years that I'd like you to write down is this. You need to learn first and foremost how to leverage technology. That's one of the best things that you can learn very early on. Leveraging technology is key to creating a lot of these systems that we're going to go through. And there's a lot of people in here who don't necessarily feel comfortable with technology. Every time I do something as an investor, what I do is once I do something successfully, I try to look back at that process and document it. I'll give you a great example. How many of you have ever placed an ad on Craigslist? Who's ever placed an ad on Craigslist? Okay, a majority of people in here. First time I placed an ad on Craigslist, I didn't get any leads. Second time I placed an ad on Craigslist, I didn't get any leads. Third time, I didn't get any leads. And I thought to myself, and I was about to give up, and I said, you know what, this really isn't that great of a strategy. You know, it's taking me a couple minutes each morning to place this ad. You know, should I continue doing this? And well, I said, you know what, let me try for another week to continue placing ads. So I kept placing ads. Pretty soon, we got a couple leads. And by the end of the month, we were getting a couple leads each week off these ads from Craigslist. Well, the next month, we actually did our first deal from an ad off Craigslist. So I realized, okay, I spent 3 hours placing these ads over the course of this past month, and it produced this much revenue. Why don't I create a system where I can have somebody else do this for me on a regular basis? So I'm going to basically teach you something. I want you to write these programs down. I was talking to Jacob the other day in the office about this. Write this program down. It's called Camtasia.com. Camtasia.com. C-A-M-T-A-S-I-A. What Camtasia is if you have a PC, if you have a Mac, write this down. It's called ScreenFlow. These are two programs. What I did is I looked at this ad and I said, okay, this works. How can I do this every week without me having to do it myself? So what I did is I sat down and I said, okay, here's the ad that I write. Now, if you work on Craigslist, you can't write the same ad and keep reposting it, because what happens? They don't like it. They're going to shut it down, right? They're not going to let you repost the same ad 100 different times. So what I did is I created 10 templates. And I said, these are the ads, and every time I place an ad, I just change the wording around a little bit so it's different. And then I place it up on Craigslist. Well, what you have to understand is, okay, that works. I spent 3 hours to get, X number of leads. How could I do that without my own time? Well, what I do is I use Camtasia or ScreenFlow if you're using a PC, and I record exactly the process that I go through. So I put on a little headset mic. I talk into the mic, and I'm filming exactly what I do. I say, okay, what I do is I have these 10 base ads. They're all in Word documents. I copy the ad. I change the lines around a little bit. What I do is I then go to, and that's following me on the computer. I then go to Craigslist, and here's how I place an ad. And then what I do is I place this ad, and I place it under these particular categories. And then I go and I grab my next ad. I rewrite it. I go place it under this category. And I just went through the process. It took me about half an hour to create a little training video. Then what I do with that training video is I find somebody to do it for me. As opposed to you, because if you were to say, I'm going to sit there and place Craigslist ads every week, you're not going to. You're not going to. But could you have somebody who sits down every week like an assistant or a virtual assistant place these ads for you? Yeah, but you need a way to train them. So what you need to understand is there's a way, everything that you do, you can create a system to replace yourself. Then what you do is, here's a great website if you haven't used this before. It's called elance.com. I want you to write it down. Elance.com. On Elance, you can hire pretty much any professional that has anything to do with graphic design, web design. You could hire a virtual assistant. It's called elance.com. E-L-A-N-C-E. How many of you have used this site before? Let me see a show of hands. Okay. Elance is a great website to hire people that can work for you part-time at a very low rate. In fact, you can find people overseas that will bid on your jobs that will be willing to work for $4 or $5 an hour. And so what you do is you say, okay, I have these set marketing campaigns. At the end of the day, we're going to go through 10 of them. You say, I have these set marketing campaigns that I want to execute. I don't have the time because I'm working full-time doing something else to execute these every week. So I'm going to go place an ad on Elance with a job description that says, I need somebody to do marketing fulfillment work for me, placing ads on Craigslist, distributing videos. You could find somebody to answer your phone right there on Elance. And what you do is you place a job description, and you'll get 15, 20 different people to respond back to you. And then you pick the person that you feel is the best, and that person will work for you 4 or 5 hours a week, just placing your ads. And what marketing is, it's just about consistency. It's about frequency. The more you're out there, the more leads you'll generate. So you can place leads for buyers, for sellers, but the only way to get them to follow the process that you've done is to document every aspect of the process. I'm going to give you some very valuable advice. I know a lot of you have done successful real estate transactions. Here's a homework assignment for you, what I'd like you to do. Very good assignment. Your last transaction, I'd like you to write down about how many hours it took you to complete that transaction from start to finish. I want you to write down exactly what you did, and then what you look at is you look at, okay, I spent 25 hours working on this wholesale deal from start to finish. How can I do this deal next time by only spending 12 hours? And by having other people do aspects of that. In order to generate the lead, you had to do something. In order to generate the buyer lead, you had to do something. In order to appraise the property the right way, you had to do something. And what you do is you start to document what you do, and then you look at all those activities and you start to pick out the ones that you could have other people do at a lesser rate than you.